Well, good morning, everyone. I am filling in for Robert Arzov, our chair, and we have an exciting lead panel discussion this morning on technology and innovation. For those of you who don't know much about Macedonia 2025, we've got four real objectives. Accelerating economic development is, of course, our key plank. Foreign direct investment is a major thrust of that. As well as improving our competitiveness and encouraging entrepreneurship. Our second plank is accelerating leadership. Our third is strengthening linkages for Macedonians, be the diaspora or people here, trying to take advantage of the fact that we're all over the place and there's so much more that we can do. And our fourth thrust is advocating ideals of good government. And the reason why I kind of, wanted to give you an overview of our objectives is to go back. This is our third conference, really, and the first two were held in Ohrid. And because foreign direct investment has been such a key plank in what we were doing, and you look back on those earlier conferences we had, there was a lot more focused on the foreign direct investment. We got into financing of FDI. We spent a lot of time on food processing, automotive, what I would call cornerstone industries in any economy. And they were good sessions, but as we were trying to figure out what to do for this third conference we were having and moving it to Skopje, we had a lot of feedback, especially from the younger people, that, it's great that we produce EVAR, but I've got some great IT guys and some good ideas that we'd like to think about moving forward. So as we formed the conference that Zoran and Biljana did a fantastic job building the agenda. We're now looking forward to what this country can become, and especially in the globalized economy. There are no limits. I was lucky to participate in that panel yesterday with the young guys. And, and you can see everything that the opportunities that just some good ideas and $50 in registration fees and a domain name are able to accomplish for you. So now we're going to start getting into more buzzwords this morning. The Internet of Things, big data, monetization strategies, CRM, open source logistics, and of course ICT. They're all words that any business today moving forward needs to be focused on. And we at Macedonia 2025 really believe that this country has the basics that are required in terms of the education, the work ethic of the people, and the connectivity that can be done to move forward. So on my panel with me today is Vlaho Kostov, who's with Panasonic, Philip Nordfeldt from Data Talks, he joined us from Sweden, Marta Naumovska from the Zavar company, Gordana Gavrilović from RedKnee, a good Canadian company, Petar Spaseski from Hatch, and Emil Matevski from Detecon. So what I'm going to try and do for the panel, because we got a lot of good feedback yesterday of trying to make it interactive, we're going to go down the row. Some of these guys have slides. They were told they have 10 minutes, but I'm going to try and limit them to 5 minutes so we can have a lot more interactive discussion and then come back to question and answers from the floor. So I will pass it over to Vlaho first. You're up.
If you don't mind, I'm going to stand up. Good morning, everybody. Perhaps I have to give you a little bit of context. I'm born here in Macedonia. I'm basically raised here through my university education. I've been living for many years abroad, 10 years in Japan, several years in UK. Now I'm in Germany based. I met my wife in Tokyo. She's Italian, we live in Germany. And that's a little bit of my background. I'm of education, formal is engineering, and I've been for a long time in consumer electronics, a bit of automotive, and my beginning were in the telecom industry. What I would like today to address as a topic which I feel strongly is of your interest is how the consumer electronics has changed, the tremendous changes that happen to the consumer electronics industry, that you're aware and you benefit very much every year. You see the prices falling. We are feeling that very strongly. Stiff competition, very strong competition, price pressure every year. That leads to that we as manufacturers or the other manufacturers have to innovate. We have to innovate in a very high speed, high paced. In the past, our innovation cycles were long. We were comfortable. We could have get our money back of our investments for a very long time. Not anymore. And now what's going on? I'll just briefly go what is happening with the TV. The TV, everybody knows from the old black and white TVs. I still remember it. I'm not that young. To the color, the digital TVs, the full or the HD rated and the full HD, and then became the 3D TVs, and recently the 4K TVs, which is 4 times the HD with the curved panels and etc. Very big. Now we have more than 50-inch, 65-inch at homes. What changed as well in how we position the products from consumer electronics, it's not anymore about to be reliable and high quality TV and then to last almost like a fridge, 10 years, more than 10 years. No, customers change TVs much frequently, and there are different parameters now. They have the design, they have to be high quality as well, they have to be easy to operate, they have to be internet connected with whatever you have content, the picture quality of course, and it has to be eco-friendly now in the EU, all the regulations. So the parameters became much more complex. In all that, let's say, competitive landscape, then the key features are very important. Not always to gain market share, but very often also to defend. Some of those features are basically now a must-have. That like if you don't have a remote control, the TV is not worth anything. And if they don't have a Wi-Fi connection, the TV is not worth anything anymore. When I say easy operation, what do I mean by easy operation? I mean, it's not just a remote control and the screen. You have an apps, you have your favorites, you have your bookmarks over there, your favorite content connected to your server, or you stream it from YouTube, or you have Netflix apps, Amazon, everything is in the TV. You see that lady there, she talks to the remote control actually, or she has the pad on the remote, apart from the normal remote control for the elder people. And then there are cameras recognizing the face and automatically doing things. So what happened with that TV that we know, the very, very old and classical TV, is just basically a multimedia device nowadays. A high processor power, a lot of memory, basically comparable to PCs. And then you have this ecosystem where you have everything possible coming to the screen. It's just whether it comes from your media, from your camcorder, your digital camera, or somewhere in the cloud. And then this changes the whole industry very much, which is a very, very, very traditional and slow-moving industry from the broadcaster side. They are not very comfortable with this, what's going on. And many ask me, what happens now? You have the portal, are you going to watch linear TV? Linear TV means a TV in real time. And I personally think that they should just simply benefit and use those opportunities that these interconnected TVs or consumer electronics can offer. I'm just going to jump through this slide. Basically, it shows that the number of connected TVs or consumer electronics is tremendously increasing. This is an old slide from 2013, actually 14 in Germany. And I think nowadays, at least Panasonic range is all connected anyway. And there is a technology called HBBTV, which is, for those of you who are not engineers, is a middleware that enables you this interactivity. And this is a European standard. Anyway, and this slide basically I wanted just to show that this paradigm of lean forward to lean back, it's not as simple as you see on the PC or your mobile phone. And you have to preserve the lean back experience while offering the same level of connectivity, friendliness, or what the user is used in anywhere while going on the go. Okay, maybe you can just, in order to illustrate, it's a very short video, to illustrate what I mean by innovating in something which was considered a very, very slow-moving industry some years ago. We can play the video. It's very short.
Introducing the new Smart Viera television. With voice control, face recognition, and My Home Screen, you can now access your favorite TV channels, websites, and smart TV apps quickly and easily. Plus, you can now create personalized home screens for you and your family, so you can find what you want, when you want. Bringing together your favorite TV channels, web pages, and more. My Home Screen is personalized for you, so everything you love is in one place. Smart Viera. Smart TV made easy.
Just maybe if you can go on the last, I'm going to skip that one. There are a few challenges that I see looking at the industry, because now the content distribution, especially in Europe, is very limited geographically. What you have a rights to stream in Italy or Germany, you don't have it in UK, and vice versa. And this is basically an obstacle for the whole Europe, which is not, it's unlikely in US. When we launch something, it's the whole US territory. Then there is the issue of regulation. Coming from a TV or is a very regulated product, while the internet is really very little regulated. And now when you bring such a regulated product into an environment that is not regulated, the regulators naturally try to regulate that, and that's impossible. So I would like, what happens? What is the TV anymore? Is it now my working table where I have an integrated screen, or my wall where I have some screening behind, or is it my mobile phone, or my USB stick, or my tablet? What is a TV? So the definition, the aspects what the TV is changes. And of course, those will bring many just opportunities for elderly people that could access and have some experience of what we experience, the younger generation, and lower energy consumption important for EU and etc. So anyway, I would just like to stop here and think about the innovation cycles getting shorter and shorter. We have maybe only a year now where we have to create the future and then launch products. That's what's going on in consumer electronics.
Thank you, Vlaho. That was great. We all have TVs, and he said, I remember when he said, if you don't have a remote control anymore, you don't have a TV. I had two older brothers who were 7 and 8 years older than me. And in my house when I was a kid, the remote control was me. They would say, John, go up and change the channel. And I'd have to stand there. Is this okay? Is this okay? So we've come a long way. But next up from Data Talks, Philip Nordfeldt, over to you.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you very much for having me. I'm short background. I'm a marketing and sales guy. I've been selling airline tickets for the past 15 years. I was responsible for Austrian Airlines and Lufthansa in this region until 2 years ago. And the reason I started my company, Data Talks, is because I see that there's a huge opportunity to make use of the huge amount of data that's collected and generated, or rather generated and could be collected all around us constantly. So I mean, we're talking about innovation and technology. Big data is a buzzword, as you said. What is big data? Of course, everybody knows what big data is. It's a huge amount of data. It's fast. It's from a variety of sources and so. But my question is more, what can you do with the data, and what are the opportunities? And then you should ask yourself three things. What kind of data is out there? How can we collect it? And what can we do with it? And here we could categorize it into two different kinds of data. Probably there's lots of more categories you can put it into. But the one is the data that's generated by the Internet of Things, like the TV, my fridge. I think that's quite interesting to see what's happening here in this field. One example I think is very interesting is there's a tractor company. They're manufacturing tractors, and the tractors is equipped with devices that's monitoring the performance. And when this monitor sends a signal that the tractor needs maintenance, this is of course sent then to a central, and then it could start booking in the maintenance time. You could also combine this data with weather data, so you can book a time where this tractor goes to the shop when they predict rain, when you cannot use the tractor. So in this sense, the farmer, the one-man company can of course increase their productivity by not sending the tractor to the repair shop during a day where he would be out working on his fields with a tractor. So this is the small things, and of course there's lots of Internet of Things happening. I think today the estimate is that there's 6 billion things connected to the internet, and it's growing really, really fast. My fridge actually unfriended me on Facebook the other day. So then there's the other kind of data, and that's the data that I'm more interested in, and that's the data that's generated by all of us all the time. And since I come from the travel industry, that's where I'm trying to make use of this data and helping companies to use it. So I just want to do a quick survey amongst you. Could you please just raise your hands? 3 questions. First question is, has anyone here ever looked for an airline flight on the internet? Wow. Next question, has anyone ever booked a flight on the internet? That's amazing. And a third question, has anyone ever brought this, this kind of device? It's called a mobile phone when you travel? Yeah. So that's just three data sources that are quite valuable. That's where you guys are generating a lot of data and telling us what you're looking for, where you are, and what's your intent. Now, here we see a huge opportunity to start collecting this data and using it and derive insights from the data. And marketing and sales is moving more and more from marketing to sales to marketing, because sales is not so much interesting, it's more marketing. The sale will come. Marketing is moving from marketing and sales to marketing and tech, because today if you want to do the marketing in the right way, you need to use the technology that's available, the so-called big data technology, which is, by the way, a very, very broad definition of it. And the interesting thing is here that the marketing department, it's predicted that the marketing departments in 2020 will probably spend more money on IT than the IT departments. So what does this mean then? How can we use all this data, and what's the benefit? And this is a bit, actually, after listening to the panel yesterday, the last one with all the young startups, it's very interesting to see how young people with a one-man show with an investment of $50 can build a really huge company which generates lots of value. Talk about a good return on investment there. And when we're talking to the companies that I'm talking to, airlines, travel agencies, let's say they're a bit more conservative. The challenge there is to get them to understand what you can do with the new technology, what you can build, how you can collect this data, and what you can actually do with it. And there, I think, is a very good example is Uber, the disruptive company that's changed the taxi industry forever, probably. And they're really using all of this data. You know, this thing can tell you so much. I was taking an Uber ride the other week. I got out of a bar in Stockholm where I live, and I was kind of, okay, let's go home. I just pressed the button, and I was looking around, and then I hear from behind me, said, "Hey, Philip, I'm over here." The taxi driver knows my name before I even seen the car. I get in the car, we start talking about, you know, the weather. He knows where I'm going because it's all in the system. He's following the GPS, he drives me home. When I get there, 20 minutes later, I say, "Thank you very much. See you next time I get out of the car." Payments, it's all done because my credit card details, I've uploaded it once, they have it. The receipt, of course I need the receipt, you know. It's sent to my inbox. Before I even open my door, I have the receipt. Then when I open the receipt next morning, I can rate the driver. Was he good? Was the car clean? Did he know his way around? And so on. And the funny thing is, actually, the driver rated me as well. Was I a good customer? Will I get an Uber car next time? So this whole technology thing of, you know, the sharing economy, the collecting the data, the making it use of it, there's a huge potential there. And what we're trying to do is, we're trying to get these industries to go from, you know, we put an ad in the newspaper or a billboard and we hope that somebody's seen it, to we want to see that, okay, they've seen that Philip has been searching now on the web for a flight from Stockholm to Skopje 3 times already. They know that I'm a frequent flyer, and they know that I'm sitting in Stockholm doing this at my computer or on my mobile phone. So when I come back on the 4th time to the site to look again for my flight, they should help me. They should take care of me. They should hold my hand and walk me through the process. Because I did check Turkish Airlines as well, and I did check another 15 airlines. And if you don't take care of your customers and really help them to convert, you might lose them. So that's what we're trying to do and apply the whole big data and IT things. So what does this mean then for the consumer? Well, today the consumer is always on. You're generating a lot of data, as I mentioned before, and I mean you're sharing, you're liking, you're telling us. And there's could be one element that this is really scary. You know everything about me. In the travel industry, we've done some research, and 70% of passengers are actually willing to share more data in return of giving me something relevant content when you talk to me. Don't send me, if I've been looking now for the flight Stockholm-Skopje, because I'm going to Skopje, don't send me an offer to go to New York. I love New York, I'd like to go there, but right now I'm interested in Skopje. So this is where we see an opportunity and of course to make the marketing smarter and more accurate. So to summarize, big data is everywhere. It's coming from a lot of different systems. The IT systems can help you to collect and use this data. The challenge is to get the IT people to do this, to listen to the marketer's need or needs. And by using the data, you can increase the insights, you can do better decision making, you can automate the process of this, what I've been talking about, recognizing me when I come to your homepage, or just connecting the data from this tractor with the weather systems to get an optimal slot for the maintenance. And of course, increase the efficiency, increase your sales, and hopefully also reach some higher return on investments. Probably not as high as the guys had yesterday. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you. You talk about the TVs and Ubers. I have a Tesla at home in Toronto, and I was at dinner with a few friends a couple weeks ago, and they were saying, do you think we'll ever have a driverless car? And I said, guys, I have one. And they go, what do you mean? And I had a software download. For those of you who don't know, Tesla's a battery-operated car, but a software download in August where I got my car in the morning and said, tonight, just hit an upgrade. And it dropped in the autopilot for my car. And literally, when you're driving down the highway now, you just push in where the blinker is, and it's a full autopilot. But then the cooler thing is, the next morning when I got up, as part of that upgrade, it showed me, because it knows where my office is, as you said, everything's getting smarter and smarter, and it shows me the fastest route to take to my office the next morning, pulling out of my garage. And basically said, pick which of these routes do you want, hit start, and it could navigate the whole thing. So it is incredible how it's going, but we can't get there without sustainable design and manufacturing, and Marta Grnarova Naumovska from Zavar is going to be our next presenter. 5 minutes. He did 7. They were both actually 7, 8 minutes, so average it, you have 7.5.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm in a company of very high-tech internet people, and I will talk about from a different perspective, actually, how to answer over globalization thing, technology, and but from the point of view of material things, because what globalization have done. And very fast development of the IT sector, the opportunity to work wherever you are in the world, opportunity to make teams from everywhere, opportunity to collect data and to learn more about customer behavior. But the future answer from the point of view of manufacturing on this will be localization of the production, because up to some point of view, if you can imagine how much we pay moving around a lot of boxes, a lot of things, a lot of products to be made. First, to put together all the material sources, then put together all the elements, then you have another side, which is sales side. You transport a lot of things. All this is not anymore sustainable, and in the future, development of the production will be to product locally. So in that terms, and in the terms when we have an industry who is becoming a very good supplier, but also has responsibility to the society to be sustainable, because being a good supplier, it is a compliment, and it's one of the things we should be proud of, because like when we started to go to foreign fairs 2007, nobody, before the crisis, nobody had an idea where we come from, where is Macedonia, who is Macedonian, because everyone was supplying their products from India and China. this has been changed since 2009, especially 2010. All of a sudden, people realized, when even if they didn't know where is Macedonia, but I think that they learned in the meantime, and when they said that you come from Europe, they were suddenly becoming more interested, because they realized that after all, also because the market has been changed. They couldn't order very big quantities of products. They needed more flexible suppliers, and so they turned to the local. So the next step for Macedonian companies is how to become or stay sustainable with their production by introducing design in the companies. We have some specifics, and also as the consumers, we are different maybe than the ones in other countries. So long term, we might be not interesting as a supply destination anymore, because the tendency is that the cost to be lower and lower, but it cannot go up to infinity limits. And the thing is that every consumer in the future will deserve to have the product that really deserves to have, attention. So in that terms, sustainable design will be one of the things that any company who cares about the future have to adapt as a strategy. Most main things about sustainable design are that all the products have to be produced from materials who are ecological. The source of materials, the way of production of materials should be ecological. Also, the production process should be done in a way that saves energy. And the main thing is the products have to be done in a way to build long-term emotional relationship, not only to, which is maybe a little bit contradictory with the fast-changing TV concept, but other products should be done in a way not to be needed to be changed that fast. Any company who wants to continue or survive nowadays needs to introduce design as a main concept in the company strategy, and in the because design thinking it's way how to differentiate from your competition, and how to sell bigger value. In this direction, through the Skopje Design Week, through Association of Metal Industry, we are trying to make platforms in order to develop this, and I'm doing that also within my company.
I expect there'll be some questions and follow-up in terms of how do you keep current on the design in today's global platforms. Next up from RedKnee is Gordana Gavrilović, who is going to update us. Where's your microphone on?
Hello.
You're up.
Okay. My name is Gordana Gavrilović. Currently working for Canadian-based company RedKnee. Thank you for having me here. I'm electrical engineer by education, but after my studies I did a lot of additional specialization in different fields. traveling around the world with companies I was working for, from Siemens to Nokia, having projects in Russia and Boca Raton in USA, and currently working in Austria. Since 2 years, I started this exciting journey with the RedKnee, cutting-edge company in technology for business support systems, for data monetization, and real-time charging. So what I would like now to discuss or to point out is where this digital revolution is going to, as some of the previous panelists also mentioned. We are in the middle of this new digital revolution. Digital industry is moving dramatically and changing. Driven by the digital technologies and hardware software networks, this revolution will transform our society inevitably, business, economy, incomparable speed and force. It will create unpredictable wealth, spark innovation in all sectors, and convert what was once reserved only for the science fiction. There is a prediction that the quantity of data that will be available and data transfers in the next year will increase 50%. In the year after, again, 50%. The number of connected devices by the end of 2020 will be almost all devices will be connected. So if it's not connected, it has no value. So the technology is important, and the technology will move forward, but this is also the change for the whole ecosystem. This is the change for the way of thinking, way of organization is working, and for all of us. Youngers in my generation wanted to become pilots, and now young people want to become YouTubers. So demand for data is growing, it's stronger, and it's becoming more and more important over the time. So we are coming from telecommunication sector, and I don't know if you're familiar with the brand, RedKnee. Maybe you heard or not, but I'm sure that in the last days, most of you used partly our software. There is one reference of RedKnee in Macedonia. The VIP operator is using our software for providing a prepaid service to the subscribers. So if you phoned somebody or use the VIP prepaid, then you use partly the RedKnee software. We are coming from telecommunication industry, and we are leading provider is in real-time charging. But the telecommunication sector face many challenges. On one hand, companies are seeing the revenues more and more stagnating, and they are searching for the new revenue streams. So telecommunication industry also need to transform from voice to data orientation business, and this require infrastructural changes. And it will become more and more important for the companies to use data and to predict in a predictable fashion, to anticipate customers' needs, to personalize, to create targeted offers. But this needs flexibility from support infrastructure to execute and monetize to these services. Over the time, the Internet of Things will definitely change the approach for both information and technology, but the volume and the data will require us to be smarter in a way we route, connect, and prioritize information. With all of these challenges and all of the data that will come out of the connected devices, of connected cars, one will ask, and what to do with all of this. There is a dramatic change in automotive industry. There is a dramatic change in energy. Prepaid energy is rapidly growing alternative to how most customers pay the energy today, and provide utility companies with more secure revenue stream. Today there are more than 50 million smart meters deployment in the United States alone, and utility providers are looking for a new way to deliver additional value to disconnected customers. Connected car industry. We have one reference in a BMW. By 2020, every fifth car will be connected with some entertainment system, interactive, real-time traffic information, or similar. Retail, leveraging a real-time loyalty management solution that elevates the shopping experience, and many more. So basically, the software that we developed in a telecommunication industry that is proven to work with a huge amount of data in real time now can be used in any other industry. And that's what we are now actually offering to our partners, to our current and future customers. So, as you see on this slide, our software is there for monetization. So whatever idea you have, once you will try to get some money out of it. And in which moment and where it can be charged to be also appealing to the end user, based on an event, based on a time, based on a content, based on the combination of all of this on volume. So the monetization is something that goes along with all this expansion, and that's something that we are here to offer. Let's say.
Next up is Peter Spaseski from Hatch. So Peter, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, John. I'm delighted to be here. It's an absolute pleasure. Wonderful audience, great cause, noble cause. Thumbs up for the organizers. Acknowledgements are in order for the MK 2025. Well done. Been asked to say a few words about technology and innovation, and I'll try to keep it with my line of work, which is asset management. But first, I would like to paint the picture of the world we live in. What's happening today, what is current, as we've heard from previous speakers and as well as yesterday, but I just want to underline the fact. Last night, after the gala, I organized a global conference from 4 stories up from here, from my hotel room. I've talked with my colleagues from Australia, Canada, South Africa, and Europe. We discussed an ongoing project, and we've checked the KPIs, did some forecasting as well as assigned some actions. 10 years ago, this would have been a very challenging task to be organized from the offices in the mentioned regions, let alone from the hotel room. Security, privacy, and most importantly, probably where I'm heading, is the availability of the information. So progress, it's clearly visible, and our main enabler was cloud computing. All of the data that we consider was stored and analyzed on the cloud, and we just piped in from different regions and make use of that data. So, and cloud computing, mind you, has been listed as one of the most disruptive technology in today's world. It's affecting economy, business, and societies. Within this, I would like to stress or discuss three things, 3 trends out of it, which are Internet of Things, as mentioned, big data, and also very important for us, predictive analytics. Internet of Things, for the ones unaware with the term, it's small, not necessarily small, but things, equipment, hardware, equipped with the technology that they can collect data and exchange that information, exchange it back to the cloud, back to the server, and most importantly, exchange it with themselves, so get smarter. As an example was mentioned, a fridge. So the fridge is smart enough to know when I run out of milk. Actually, to be clearly smarter, should know before I ran out of milk and make a call to the local store that needs to deliver some milk. Or another example would be pressure monitors and how they can connect to the respected valves and prevent some major hazardous scenarios. Next topic, it's big data. They're very different explanation, and it's not hard it's not easy to be explained because it's still not done. This is, in my view, we're still not done with this. It's still in progress, but here is my take on it. I would explain the big data as a multidimensional array of different data sets. I'll stress the data sets here and the difference of the data sets and the ability for using them. Yesterday we've heard a great talk about how Facebook is enabling a lot of businesses, and I think the core of that it's the big data behind the Facebook. Which means Facebook doesn't only collect your images, statuses, it also collects behavior, which is a completely different data set. It collects the information relevant to the user, to advertising companies, and probably attacking left, right, and center. So that's a good example of how you can capitalize on the big data. And the third one is predictive analytics. As name suggested, these are the analytics that are done to predict something in the future. Predictive analytics use methods like statistics, machine learning, and lately, and probably very important for every one of us, it's artificial intelligence, methods that are used to analyze current and past data to predict something in the future. An example here can be a healthcare. We have a predictive analytics used in healthcare rapidly lately, where the predictive analytics are used to predict the symptoms of a patient and work towards stopping them before the disease can happen. So those predictive analytics are quite interesting, especially, for example, this example that I gave. They're great for the patient because we have a new ways now to how to analyze the data. And the direct effect on that, it's the actual patient. It gets the benefit of analyzing the data in a lot quicker and better way than before. Second, imagine that data after the patient has been treated. It goes in the pool where we have the data with a similar patients with the same tags, let's call them. So analyzing that data can actually provide a lot more information and work towards solution of solving or preventing some diseases. Of course, the flip side of that is if this data arrives in the hands of the insurance company and the person has a heart problem, he'll have a hard time explaining that he wants to do a skydiving and get insured. But that's the world we live in. And I consciously pick very different examples from the world just to underline the point that actually technology, it's already within us. That's what we are happening. I'll say just a few words in the asset management. Sorry, John. How this is affecting what we do. We care about the asset. We want to extend the life of an asset. So within that, we use predictive maintenance. This is preventing the failure of in-service of the equipment, of the critical equipment. How these three things can help us actually, it's enormous. And we barely scratch the surface here. Functional failures that can be used directly from one equipment that traditionally was done in one room with 5 engineers writing on the board. Now you pipe into the big data and you do analysis. Closing the gap within the PF interval, actually, that's you have the maintenance was mentioned before. What's the frequency of the maintenance? And now with the Internet of Things, the actual equipment, it's one of that things that doing maintenance itself, or at least monitoring. So the possibilities are huge, and opportunities. I'm not quite sure, probably in a different areas, but within asset management, we have a lot of opportunity from these new trends. And innovation, it's taking a big place. And just talking, I want to reflect. I've spent last 5 years in Macedonia and within the region. So what my contribution is to the summit and to my people, I would like to stress 3 enablers. First one, it's education, and some more education on all levels. Lead by examples. We're in a good road, but I think we can do better. Second, probably what I would like to see is decentralization of the workforce. I know this is easily said by done, but I think we can benefit. And as starting from myself, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable working and innovating in Ohrid than in Sydney office, for example. And the last but not the least, it's attitude change that I believe we should take place. It's a mind shift. I've talked with a lot of people from different place on the vertical, and I hear a lot of boundaries. I don't want to hear boundaries. I want to hear solution. I hear boundaries about the market size, about the government legislation or policy, about the big players, and which are quite relevant. Don't get me wrong. These are all relevant boundaries, but I want them to be seen as an opportunity, not as a boundary. A wise man said once, the only boundary in humans is their imagination, and I stand by that. So, like John, you said yesterday, don't be afraid to fail. Just fail it, learn, fail again, fail 10 times. Just don't give up. It's not in our genes. It's not Macedonian thing to do. Thank you very much.
Great. And you're so right about, the predictability and bringing down maintenance costs over time. People have to realize that all these tools are done to ultimately bring down the cost of your business going forward and not have the big surprises on capital commitments. And finally, Emil, over to you on Detecon. Coming up to the podium.
Good morning to everybody. Dear John, dear Macedonia 2025, thank you very much for the opportunity being here. It's a great pleasure supporting this summit. And that's how I came to do my cover slide. I found this picture and I said, I need to put it on. Because for me, Macedonia 2025 and this economic summit is a unique platform on which we can network and transform Macedonia so it can elevate on the next level. And today I'll be talking a little bit about digital business transformation. What is this? It's this another buzzword like machine to machine, cloud computing, Industry 4.0, Internet of Things. It's often confusing people, but no, it's not a buzzword, it's all of it together. To give you an example, as Philip already said, 2007, Apple has launched the first iPhone. Today, everybody of us has this machine with it, and it supports our daily needs, and this is how ICT industry has transformed in order to support us as a customers. But what does this mean for the business itself? Can we move to the next slide, please? No, yeah, okay. The business itself is getting more and more connected. We have network customers, as we are also networking our lives, so all the customers also is getting more and more network. We have network products and services, and we have network companies. So it's a big ecosystem which is working together, and this is impacting our own classical businesses. So if we don't think how we're gonna connect in this environment, it can be that we lose our classical business and our competition is taking over with their digital processes and digital strategy. So with Detecon, what we do, we combine management and technology strategy in order to enable your business on a business side, and we look at the IT and the telco, what kind of innovation and technology is existing in order to support your business model or even to give you a new business model. ICT is not anymore enabler of the business. ICT is the business itself, and it creates new business models which can take over classical business models which are already existing. And you probably now say this is again a consultancy theory, talking a lot about transformation, digitalization. We cannot start anything with it. But if you don't start doing it, it will get over you, and you're gonna lose your running business. I've put a video in order to show you how digital processes are changing your business models and how they support customers. I hope it's going to work. And let's try that. If not, then we're going to need to improvise a little bit. So you see how the processes in the companies change extremely fast, so can support the real-time needs of the customers. And we'll need more of these digital minds that will support consultancy, that will support companies to transform. Because if they don't do that, the digital natives will take over their business, your business, and you'll be without a business model anymore. And every company now is planning in their budgets big amounts of money in order to transform their business. And if we get track on this trend, we're going to improve the business, the technology, and we can create new business models. So that's from my side.
That was excellent. Thank you. You know, when he pulled the phone out and just how much dependent we are on our cell phones, I was at Jerry Seinfeld, the American comedian, 2 weeks ago. He was at a show in Toronto. And he said, did you ever notice that the battery life you have on your phone determines your energy level? If you have 100%, you feel energetic and you can do anything. And if you have 10%, you're worried your life's going to end. And what are you going to do when you're going to be disconnected from the world to recharge? And it's so true. So we're on to questions. We've got about 20, 25 minutes left. And I'm going to encourage some from the crowd, but we've got a few written ones first. Philip, in which areas can Macedonia readily implement big data to improve efficiency or cut costs?
Well, as I'm working with it in marketing and sales, that's of course where I see the big opportunity. And I see companies, they have you're running a company, a traditional company, you have your customers, you're trying to interact with them. You need the support of IT to do this. And here I think is a huge possibility for Macedonia to help companies all over Europe, all over the world, as they are doing already, but going into other industries, going into other verticals, and being that, being that enabler. So this, that we saw in the video now, that it works, because there's quite a lot of things that has to work behind the scenes for the data to be connected, to generate an order, and all of this. There, I think there's, of course, cost is one competitive advantage, but also if you look around Europe, there's a lack of people who can do this. In Sweden, for instance, you couldn't find a programmer, and if you find one, you have to pay them a lot of money. So this is something which is not, and also we're talking about digital native companies. These guys, one man, one kid in the garage, they know this, they can do it themselves. But when you're talking to large corporations who are good at their business, they don't have the resources and the know-how to do all this. So this is an opportunity for Macedonia, I think, to...
Anyone else want to take it as well? How Macedonia can take advantage of big data? Vlaho, we have a question for you. What sort of preconditions would investors in consumer electronics like to see met in Macedonia in order to invest?
Well, I think this we could split it in two. Depends on what kind of investment. If it's a higher added value part of the consumer electronics part, or it's really the pure manufacturers when you shift boxes or you assemble things. Well, I do come from technology management and strategy, business strategy. So I think I would just give a picture. If it is in the high added value, let's say software development, innovation, features, we are right there. I don't think there are huge barriers to do that. It's more of a promotion and persuading the manufacturers that our people here can do that, and it's going to do it cheaper. I think that's going on already. If you do about manufacturing, I wouldn't think that there is anything specifically different for consumer electronics that what's from other, let's say, automotive parts. The only thing I could think is that the all major, let's say, tier one, what I show you was a tier one manufacturers in consumer electronics. Tier 2 and tier 3, I'm not very familiar with them, but what we do and the rest of our competitors, we have a cycle, so its development happens before the end of the year, and we launch the products in the beginning of the year, typically January to March period. So if there is some obstacle for this cycle cannot be broken, because in January you have to ship them and the whole Europe or wider. That could be, let's say, one obstacle. And of course, the infrastructure has to be very good, so the components in and the products out. But apart from that, I don't see any particular obstacle. What in Macedonia they're seeing with any other manufacturing industry, I think that would apply for consumer electronics.
Thank you. Marta, a question for you, and that is, how do you stay relevant on the knowledge curve on global design trends for Macedonian companies?
It is an interesting question, and it's of course very difficult how to be able to follow and to answer all the trends. But also there is some other thing that you have to think always out of the box, and you have to think on the obstacles and as an inspiration, and you have to use whatever is on your in your surrounding, whatever is, for example, using technologies which are not meant to use for a certain product, then use them to produce. also using IT technologies for in terms of making a better product. For example, we started as using the welding technologies and materials and resources we already had for producing a process equipment, reshape them, give the product a new value, and make the design radiators. And our last project was customer focused, and we realized that customers would like to have to be part of the design of the process. So it's for now still very it's unique collection because no other company in the world done that concept. So we took 8 basic elements, and together with a school for computers, so it even didn't cost us. It was a joint project. As a part of their class, we developed, at the moment it's in a demo phase, so it will be put on the website, so any customer will make its combination, so we get directly, so made part of the design, so we get directly the drawing and then make the price and deliver according to that. So sometimes innovative obstacles and lack of budget inspires innovative thinking.
Thank you. I'm going to throw a question down to Gordana, Peter, or Emil. Do you see any CRM type of opportunities in Macedonia?
First of all, I wanted to, yesterday I got several comments after the last panel, where are the women? So I want to point out one of the maybe competitive advantages of Macedonia compared to Western Europe for sure, and maybe also US market. It's much more the women who are attracted to get into the studying technology or electrical engineering, something like that. And I think when I was studying, it was like 40% almost the women, which is the percentage which can the Western Europe not even think about. So all these new technologies are also require not only the pure technical knowledge, but an add-on in a social way, on a way of customer experience and so on. And that's something I think where the female power can help, and that may be, generally speaking, competitive advantage of the Macedonia. In regards to CRM itself, yeah, this is it can be applied everywhere. I mean, especially in the area where the companies are still having a monopoly, let's say in the energy area, where you almost don't have a call center, you have some problem with the bill, you don't know whom to call, you have to wait in some queue. So on many places it can be incorporated and can be improved.
You guys, any other points on it? If not, Emil?
I'd like to give maybe another point that I took from yesterday. There was a question, how can we say ICT premium services? And what I want to give you now is that you can sell ICT premium services if you start thinking as a business, not as a IT as an enabler. So if you think more about the business models and what the customer can sell more and how they can improve their business, you can sell more premium services in the IT industry. If you think how the business can change using the technology, and if we start develop skills and people in this range, we can then charge more premium services and get a more scale on the money we earn.
Great. We're gonna open up to the floor now. If there's any questions in the audience, can we get a microphone over here at the back, please, on the corner? Are there any microphones to pass around? Ladies, can you give them a microphone, please? If there's a second microphone, maybe the other woman, she could come over to this side, and that way we could just expedite any passing around of microphones if there's. Please introduce yourself and then your question.
Hello, my name is Mitko Andonov from Kolid International. I have a question for Mr. Kostov, and I'm just curious about it. Do you maybe happen to know why the TV industry decided or never developed the picture-in-picture part? I think it's a big advantage when, I always listen to music on the TV, but I want to know what's the result in the soccer game or something like that. And I don't see it develop like a picture-in-picture. Watch two TV channels in the same time.
We do have it as a Panasonic.
It's not enough. Isn't it an advantage? It's not like everybody goes for the internet, for the gadget, for everything. But I see the simple things are not well exposed, not as an advantage.
I mean the picture-in-picture feature is for some time, at least on some of the TVs. But what I think the direction is right now is more with the interaction with the second screen. For some people, the second screen is actually the first screen, and the TV is the second screen. But that's another topic. But the between big screen and a second screen swiping content, what you see there, you swipe it back to your mobile, you go to the kitchen or whatever bathroom, and then you come back, you can swap it back to the TV, and vice versa. It exists as well. But if you speak of the picture-in-picture with two channels, that's why it exists. Yeah, I don't want to sound as advertising, but what some of the new models of the TV have, they have a twin triple tuner. So basically they have a satellite, terrestrial, and cable tuner, and they have it double. So basically with two, whoever watched pay TV, two slots, so you can actually even see two pay TV channels, be it Sky or let's say some pay, one on a small screen, another, and you can swap easily. Okay, Panasonic was a leader in that, but I see their competitors are also following. But it's true that this, let's say, multi-tunering thing was not that, because it's technically it's quite complex to manage that.
Thank you.
Microphone up front here, please. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, John. A great panel. John, great job emceeing it. Question, my youngest son, the former basketball player, now works for Uber. He's been opening up all kinds of new markets, college towns, whether that's Notre Dame, Ohio State, Columbus. And what I heard a couple of days ago, now Grouper is one of the most popular and successful small businesses in Macedonia, has taken over from the Groupon idea initially. I'm just wondering from the group or for the audience, has anyone tried to develop an Uber-like application here? It's 2 million people here. I'm sure Uber has not made it as a priority. It's a great service. Again, it's a 51 billion market cap company right now on paper. So if I was a 25-year-old, I'd probably open up a website. I'm assuming there'll be regulations. I see so many taxi cab drivers here, so I'm sure it's going to be a protest like in Belgium or Paris to say, how dare you take our jobs? But again, I would think it'd be a good test for both the government, for regulations, for entrepreneurs. If you're the most popular application in the world, if it's not here, who's going to take a first crack at it?
Hello.
Yeah, I think it's a good example because Uber is, everybody knows it. And it's actually the core of Uber is that they've taken the different systems and put them together. They haven't developed a map system. They took Google Maps. They haven't developed an SMS system. They connected with Twilio. So they're just using the technology that's out there. And that's, again, I think is a huge opportunity. So what's the next? When can we see which area can we disrupt with Uber? Look at what's happening in fintech now. Yeah. But there's lots of spin-offs there. I was thinking of doing a thing called, I'll call it Under, just to, contradict to Uber, and start shipping stuff that, because we went buying some things just a few kilometers away from our house, and it wasn't in the store. They say, it'll be here tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Okay, so then I have to go back and pick it up. Just like Uber, we could share the economy and say, okay, everybody who is in this area of where the shop is and is passing by the area where I live, give them a pop-up on their mobile phone. Listen, you'll get 10 euros or 5 euros for bringing this stuff to this guy over here. It's probably already done, yeah. So there's lots. There was this French, what is it, eat or something they called it. There's also same sharing economy. You can go out for, you just put in what you want to eat. How many people are you? Which area? And then the private person says, okay, I'm cooking tonight. I'm cooking this dish, and I have room for 2 more people. And and they'll charge you €5 for everyone who's coming. So there's a lot of possibilities there to disrupt technologies, and there's where legislation is lacking behind. And I mean, I think the best how do you say, evaluation of Uber was when the black cabs in London went on strike. You know, Uber's evaluation doubled. So they're doing something right. So it's a good question.
So in Germany, Uber is still prohibited. So because the taxi drivers striked as well. So, but they're getting in their business, and I think in the long term they're going to take it over.
Yeah, well, and then you wonder, you know, a smaller country like Macedonia, how they would ever react to a situation like that, because as we see it in Canada, in Toronto. I mean, the taxi drivers don't have any kind of political force compared to the people and their preference for Uber. Peter, were you going to say something?
Just want to extend on it. I mean, what we've seen from the past, for example, iPhone was mentioned. Nothing was new, or not everything was new with iPhone. Everything before that was available, but as a different devices. What Steve did is just clash them all together and present it as a one device. Uber is doing a similar thing, and I personally believe that's where the future is. But I believe the time of the robots is coming. As we mentioned, there is a lot of data, and we're analyzing that data, and there is a lot of artificial intelligence, or what, as John said, Tesla at the moment are doing great jobs. I hope just our road's going to improve so I can have one here. But that's the next big thing. The robots, and how the robots, Amazon for example, it's using drones to deliver their packages. So in the US at the moment, this is very strictly regulated. In Australia, for example, you will need 18 licenses to operate with a drone. Just to explain the magnitude of that is to fly a passenger jet, you will need 12. The regulations, they can make a difference, but technology is here. We are ready for the next stage.
And you wonder if Macedonia can't, you know, take advantage and try and be the beta test ground on some of these new ideas and opportunities. Are there any more questions from the floor? I have another question for you guys. In terms of, this was an advanced question, so think hard. If there are microchips that regulate your health and that are tied to a smart device that you can carry with you, would you allow the microchip to be implanted into your body?
Yes.
Go ahead, Emil.
I would say yes as well.
Sorry, go ahead, Emil.
And it's going their way. That this is this disruptive thinking. So to get the chips in a hand or wherever you can implant that, and to track your health, but you get a lot of services connected to it that will enable your easier life in the future.
Gordana?
It's also going to be more complicated maybe in the future. No, I was just reading some, let's say, prediction reports what's going to happen in the next few years. So one of these was similar. So the employee will wear some trackers. And so the employees can be tracked, but not only because to see if they're working or not, but to see if they have any problem, any health problem, or with a heart or whatever, depends on which kind of duty they do have. So this is also maybe on the question mark if it's immoral or not. But as I said, technology is there. In some segments it will be used for sure. So yeah, with the chips, I'll consider.
I personally don't think we have a choice. In the past, there was part of the contract of a certain executive working on a certain project with a high risk that they had to have the chips in them in terms of the controlling the information and risk management of it. Just recently, I read an article that there was a new vehicle created, which is the size of the atom, that goes through your body and understands how it works. Of course, this was in the healthcare industry, but I think that is moving as well. So we live. We are coming from a very static information to digital information, and we are going towards fluid information. We expect the information to be available anywhere, any information, at any time. We have to pay the price. it doesn't come cheap.
Well, I've always been on frontiers of technology, so I guess I will do that for continue being there because one of these boring engineers, as I said yesterday. But I still think that this will raise a lot of social issues and data privacy and things like that. That's very similar. Well, it's even more complex than what we speak of autonomous driving, of when the cars will take control and the society will have to debate and accept that. But I do think that that's where we go. But I'm not so convinced that it will come very soon. It's coming, and I'll probably be one of those first ones, maybe because I'll know how to protect the data, maybe. But a lot of people will be a little bit having a second thought on it.
I'll put another question. Would you allow to have a chip in your car that follows how you drive?
Well, it's in North America, it's becoming reality because what happened is at the beginning, the insurance companies were offering it as a discount to your insurance, but what it really is a tool for them to track how often you speed over the limit, how hard you brake, everything else, and it's going to start adjusting your premium and insurance rates. For those like Mike who drive conservatively, he's going to like it his premium's down. For guys like me, I don't know if I'll even be able to drive in 2 years. Listen, I want to thank you very much for participating in our panel this morning on technology and innovation. And it's back to Biljana to tell us what's next.
Go ahead.
I have another thing to add.
Go ahead.
Thanks. One more thing to add. I mean, this is a really wonderful conference, and thank you for organizing and inviting us. One thing I think that I would like to challenge you, John, and all of us here on the panels, but all of us in a lobby. There is a lot of papers everywhere, also on my desk. I've been, and we are talking about technology and so on. I've been recently on a conference that had no anything in paper, so we had a developed application. You were supposed to download the application in advance. You could connect with everyone. You could send a question. You can become friends with the 500 people immediately, and you have it with you forever. I still have it on my smartphone. So this is a challenge for next year.
You know what? It's a good challenge. I've been to conferences like that, and I think the other good challenge came from Peter in terms of the mindset of this country, especially the young people in this country, in terms of where we can go and what we can do.